talk about your sporting. The other thing we're doing is talking about sport in 100 objects, and we've already had. I've thrown in a rugby shirt, a Wales rugby shirt with my name on the back, which was an insult. And Jack Russell's shown us that famous floppy hat that he always wore. Have you got any objects that you want to share with us?
Well, you only need 100, do you? Because I've got quite a few.
One per person or a couple.
No, I'm not a big one for. I was never very superstitious when I played, and I was very matter of fact. If you were in bad form, you were in bad form, and just to get out of it, drink a lot of alcohol. But the night before, that was the way. But the things that are important to me about my career, and I never collected autographs. I've not got a massive, stock of memorabilia and all that sort of stuff, because it didn't really mean that much to me. It was, I thoroughly enjoyed my career as a cricketer, but that was then, this is now. But there are a couple of things that are of interest, maybe. So I don't know whether I was one of the 5 Wisden cricketers of the year.
I wanted to ask you about that. I said, did they give you a trophy or anything?
It was the only thing I've ever won, and it's the only thing in cricket that you don't get any remuneration for. So there you go.
Irony of ironies.
But you got a Wisden almanac, which was signed by the editor. I can't remember whoever he was. And you went to a dinner, so at the East India Club, which is all very nice. I drank my body weight in red wine and port, so that was my reward. I had a free accommodation at the East India Club. But then I saw on this is how I'm trying to link it. I saw on Facebook that Dermot Reeve, who also was one of Wisden's 5 in whatever year, was auctioning his Wisden, his leather bound Wisden almanac. And I thought, well, I just got an ordinary hardback copy without any leather, and I thought, well, that'd be nice. So I contacted Wisden and said, look, I've just seen this. I don't want to, is there any chance I can get my almanac leather bound? Because my mum's got it at the moment. Unfortunately, she's no longer with us, so I've got it back again now. But I think I've given it to my son. They said, "Oh no, we can only leather bound soft copies." I said, "Oh right." So I said, "Well, if I find a soft back copy of that particular year, would you put a leather binding on it for me? Because I'd really like it as a memento. I don't want to auction it off, by the way. It's just one thing that I keep." And they said, yeah, but you'd have to pay for it. So it's gone from not getting remuneration to actually costing me money. So I said, well, that's fine. So they said it costs about 100 quid. I said, oh, I'd still like to have it done. So I said, I'll try and find a soft back copy. And about a week later, the guy, I can't remember the name's guy, he phoned me up and said, oh, we found a soft back copy. Do you want us to do it? So I said, absolutely fine. So they sent me
beautiful.
This, which is a lovely memento of my career, and it's in leather. It's got my name on the front, proper Wisden. So that's one thing that's, because there's not too many people who didn't play Test cricket.
Exactly.
Who were one of the five. So I'm very proud of that. So, and it's much nicer. So that's on my shelf. So that's that. I also, very similar story. We went down to, and I think it was Sporting Memories, I think was behind it. Brassy called all the lads out we herded all the lads out, and we had a bit of an audience, and they showed the film of the 77 Bensons, and then they asked all the players to come up and say a few words. And Mark Lane came up and said the proudest moment of my Gloucestershire career was being awarded my county cap, and he had it, and it was one of those velvet caps with the tassels on and the numbers on and all. I thought, I ain't got one of those either. Am I missing out here? So I didn't get my leather-bound Wisden, and all I've got is my moth-eaten. I don't think I've got it anymore. There's sweat all over it. County cap. Yeah. So I had a chat with the secretary. I said, look, I'd like one of these. Oh yeah, we can do one for you, but it's going to cost you about 100 quid. So but it was still worth doing. So I had one done, which again is which is in a frame. So that's very important to me now. And but it's cost me money. All my mementos cost me a fortune. So that's that with my number on. And apparently they only started making the velvet ones, you know. Well, it must have been after we'd finished Higgy.
Yeah,
you know?
yes, after our time.
Yeah, after. And then the other thing, well, it's two other things. I told you I'd got quite a few.
Brilliant. No, that's more than better.
I just tilt this. So up there is my Gloucestershire tie with my number on 473 and my Durham cap. Now, obviously, Durham only got first-class status in 1992, and the first-class match was against Oxford University. And so they only started numbering the players from that very first-class match.
Alphabetically.
And it's alphabetical. And my BA, I am number one. I am number one capped player for Durham. So numero uno, if you just want to have another quick look there, number one. So I had that framed.
Brilliant.
And then one last thing is, I think I sent you this, is me meeting Princess Diana, who was our patron. And it was after lunch. I was batting. It's, I don't know whether we can say this, but I had a box on, and I'm not quite sure whether she realised I had a box on because she was looking at my nether regions quite a lot as she walked past. But the late, great, she's a lovely lady. Had a pleasure of meeting her twice, and that's a little story behind that picture. I was best man to a friend of mine, and he wanted to. He didn't know what to get me as a present, so he searched the internet and found this picture, and he got into a bidding war for this picture. It's a postcard actually, and he couldn't believe that people wanted to pay that much for a picture of me. I actually gave it to him. I did remind him. I said, look, it's not the picture of me they want, it's the picture of Princess Diana. So anyway, he got it and I had it framed. So that's it really, a couple of things. I don't have any old jock straps or leather, you know, or old hats or pads or bats. I mean, my bats went into the dustbin as soon as I retired at Clarence Park in Weston-super-Mare. Right. What a godforsaken place that was. Anyway, I digress.
What was your final game, right? What was your first game? Do you remember your first game for Gloucestershire?
My first game was at Cheltenham Festival against Worcestershire.
1977?
1977, correct, Amondo. I came in for James Foat. I scored a few runs in the second team. And it's the game, Higgy, I don't know whether you remember, where Basil D'Oliveira, Worcestershire only bought 11 players, didn't bring a 12th man. And Basil D'Oliveira went in the fetlock and Jimmy Foat ended up fielding for them.
Oh, yeah. And
dropped Procky down in the corner by the scoreboard off a lap when Procky was on about 7, and he went on to get 134. And at tea time, Procky, this is my first game as a young 18-year-old, in the corridor at Cheltenham, was Procky having a stand-up argument with Norman Gifford that nearly came to blows. I mean, a real big argument. I think you can probably remember it.
Yeah.
The outcome was that Worcestershire fielded with 10 men for the rest of the innings, and Foti was withdrawn as their 12th man for the rest of the day. We won by an innings. I think Procky got 14 wickets in the match and 134 not out. And it was just like any other game I'd ever played.
Pretty shabby cricketer, Mike Proctor, though, wasn't he? He couldn't do much. Yeah.
Introduced me to Bacardi as well.
Bacardi and Coke, I remember
and
those.
Spoof.
See, those are the things you learn, you see. None of this.
I can't remember him teaching me anything about cricket. All he taught me about was drinking Bacardi and Spoof. That was it, really.
Yeah. Well, we think of all these modern cricketers with their analysts, and they got these computers and they look at them every day and check they're picking the bat up right and what the bowler's doing. Just go out and
play, Higgy.
Exactly. Those were
if they'd have left you alone, you would have been fine. I was just coming back to your dad watching the telly. I suppose he must have got bored with that repeat video that you stuck in there of you playing rugby for England, wouldn't it? Did he not know it was the same video every time?
No, thankfully, by the end, he had no idea. But actually, no,
I'm only joking.
No, absolutely, no, fair enough. No, he watched all sport, but that was the sad thing, really, that we started off by saying, look, do you remember that time when you were with the England athletics team and this happened? And he'd launch off into a great story about how he had this tiny little car and all the weightlifters and the strongmen just picked it up and lugged it up a flight of stairs and left it there. So when he was trying to leave the next day, he said, where's my car? So,
incredible.
He remembered every bit and who was involved, and but gradually as we went on, we got to the point where, do you remember that time when you were at Loughborough and they picked your car up? And he'd then carry on, and then it got to the bit where you said, do you remember the time when they picked your car up and took it to the top of steps and so was involved? And he'd go, yeah. And then gradually in the end, when you said it, he just said, I can't remember. So sad. Anyway, a digression. Do your first game for Gloucestershire was that? We've heard about your first game for Durham. Why did you switch between the two?
What, from Gloucestershire to Durham?
Yeah. Explain how you play for both.
Well, as you know, I'm sort of Gloucestershire through and through, really, but we brought in a coach. There was a bit of a coup. So myself and Grav was captain and I'd been vice captain, and we'd been quite successful, but without winning anything, as you well know. So we were second in the Sunday League, third in the Sunday League, semi-finals, quarterfinals, lost on the toss of a coin, third in the championship, fourth in the championship, all that sort of stuff. And so Grav was then replaced. They asked me to take over from Grav as captain, and I declined because it was my benefit year. Very selfish, but I said, look, I can't be captain and do my benefit properly. So they then made Tony Wright captain. So everybody was shunted down a little bit, and they brought in Eddie Barlow as the coach. And tremendous respect for Eddie, the late fantastic cricketer. And I was really excited about him coming to the club and regenerating his enthusiasm. I'd met him before when he tried to sign me for Derby, actually, and we just didn't get on. We just didn't get on, and we had, and there was a massive split during the season. There became a massive split in the dressing room. One of those, political, it was petty stuff, but it just the side became divisive, so I was going to retire. I was just not enjoying it, so I decided to retire. That was the season of 1990. So I was going to retire in 1991. I was going to play either for Devon or Staffordshire, right, as a minor county professional, and concentrate on my events business. So I was definitely retired at the end of 1990. I think Grav went to Somerset, our arch enemies, and he got a silver salver, and I retired and got nothing. So again, I seem to be on the arse end of everything. Sorry, to cut that. During that close season, I had a phone call from Durham making me an offer I couldn't understand. So they said, look, it was Jeff Cook, actually. Jeff Cook phoned me up and said, look, we're trying to get into first class. I said, I know. He said, what you do? I said, well, I was thinking of playing minor. He said, well, do you want to come and play minor counties for Durham? With a view to, if we get in first class, then, you can... And really, it was another chapter. I'd got a bit stale with Gloucestershire. I wasn't enjoying it. So I had the 1991 season with Durham as a minor county, and honestly, it was the most fun season I'd had for a long while. It was just really, and I also pro'd for Leyland up in the Northern League that year, and won the Northern League with Leyland. That's my only thing I've ever won, the Northern League, and so pro'd up in the Northern League with Jeff Miller as an amateur, right? Ken Snellgrove as an amateur. We had all sorts of people playing up there with the late great John Farrer, the agent.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, I had a really good season. And then, as you all know, Durham got in, and so I just progressed from playing minor counties back to first class again. And Grav then came from Somerset, captained, and you know there's a load of aging Calabros, shall we say? So there was Wayne Larkins, Simon Hughes, myself, Grav, Paul Parker, all these guys at the end of their career. And everybody thinks we went up there for the money, but I can assure you it wasn't. But, I wasn't on much more than I was at Gloucestershire 2 years before. But anyway, there you go. See, money's not everything, Higgy. Am I sounding like I'd like to follow the goal? But I'm not. And we just again the first Beefy obviously joined as well, so we just had such a hoot that first year. I mean, we were awful, but because we had Dean Jones, he was the only player in his pomp. So there was all these old guys, Dean Jones, and then there was all the young minor county guys that we decided might make the grade. John Clendenin and Fothers and all those guys, and it was just such a really, again, another great fun season. That first season, brilliant fun. The first game when we beat Lancashire in the John Player, what was the John Player then? Shows how long ago it is. With 6,500 at the Riverside was just, I couldn't buy a drink all night. I went around every pub in Durham with my blazer on. I didn't get home until 6 in the morning. It was fantastic.
Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. So for you, cricket was as much about the fun as and the camaraderie as it was about the success and the achievement, or where did you put the two?
People have asked me every time you speak at a dinner or whatever, they say, "Oh, do you miss it?" And I said, "I actually don't miss the cricket at all, but you miss the dressing room. It's the crack and the fun. I mean, my personality and persona has developed from being a very shy, retiring young man when I first went into the dressing room.
I remember those 10 seconds.
But if you didn't, and it's such a hard place to be because the humour is instant and very cutting. And if you're not able to react and come back with something, you just die in the corner. So I learned very quickly that you had to, as you say, in 10 seconds, that you had to speak up for yourself. And now I can't stop talking about myself now anymore. So
brilliant stuff. So after you finished, you captained Durham, didn't you?
I did. So we had 2 years when obviously we struggled, and Grav did a good job, but then Cookie is quite much a fan. He asked me if I wanted to be captain, and I said, yeah. So because I'd never been the captain of a club, so that's another one for my CV. And it was the hardest job I've ever done, and I didn't enjoy it at all, because vice captain is the best job in the world, because you get vice captain's expenses, you get a single room, you still one of the lads, but you can load the gun with the bullets and the captain fires them and you're still there, everybody's mate. But when you captain, it's a bloody nightmare, because you live every moment of every player's performance, and I found it really hard and not really my bag at all. So I only lasted a year, and then they brought in Matt Rosebery, I think.
And then you carried on for another year or so, or did you stop immediately?
Well, after my unmitigated success for the first month of the season, where we won 3 out of the 4 games, and then Brian Lara scored 501, I think in May, and it sort of went downhill from there. And then, Matt Rosebery came in. I was sort of in and out of the first team. I volunteered to captain the second team, which was I thoroughly enjoyed, the 95 season. And I think we finished second in the second 11 championship. Really enjoyed, but I enjoyed captaining the second team much more than the first team, because I felt that I was having an input with players. Whereas when I was captain of the first team, if you've ever tried captaining Wayne Larkins and Ian Botham, Not really, not really an easy task, to be fair. And I can remember reminiscing. I can remember we played at Canterbury against Kent, and I got all the lads out doing the field in practice. And if you've had a few, my motto is if you can get through field in practice, brilliant. Ned not there, Dean not there, Beefy not there. About 10 they came. They had a white ball, they had 3 cricket balls each and a bat each, and they had a putting competition around the outside of the ground. That was their pre-match warm-up. And of course, I didn't say too much about that because they are who they are. So I did find it quite difficult. So, yeah. And then I think I retired in 1996, I think. I can't remember, it's that long ago. Last match against Somerset at Clarence Park, Weston-super-Mare. Don't play first class there anymore. They should have never played first class there ever anyway. And can you remember what was that big bowler they had? Somerset, big Rose. Was it Rose? What was his first name? Rose.
Van Truth. Was it the Dutch?
Rose. No, Rose. A big guy, big stocky guy. Medium pacer. And anyway, he made me look like a complete idiot. And I thought it's time to retire. I played this about 10 times in 2 overs. I eventually nicked one. So I put my bat into the waste paper bin outside what can only be described as a hovel of a pavilion. And I said to Cookie, I'm finished. I'm out of here.
Right. Good stuff. Nice departure.
Yeah.